Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week, a brand new classic car with a modern twist.
We've also got a pair of luxurious 7-seat SUVs with a hint of off-road vigour.
Plus, Rolls-Royce pays homage to its cinematic history with a one-off Phantom.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
After discontinuing its gas-guzzling W12 engine and replacing it with the far more respectable and so-called ultra-performance plug-in V8, Bentley's path to sustainability appears to be in full swing in 2024. But now the company has updated its plans towards electrification with the new Beyond 100 Plus corporate strategy. As part of the plan, the British luxury car manufacturer has announced a delay to its EV-only model range target from the originally planned 2030 to 2035. But Bentley's is far from turning its back on battery electric vehicles, as its first electric-only luxury urban SUV is set for unveiling in 2026. This will reportedly mark the beginning of an intense shift in the brand's production, with at least one new PHEV or BEV set for release from then until 2035.
Ford has the Expedition, Toyota has the Land Cruiser, and Nissan has the Patrol. But for some reason, Nissan's answer to the luxury off-roading market has never made its way to the United States of America. That is, until now, of sorts. This is the 2025 Nissan Armada, and while its name hides the fact this is actually the Patrol we get everywhere else in the world, with a different moniker unique to the United States. A large, boxy design with plenty of space inside, all while standing tall above any shrub or rock you drive over, the new shape Armada does its best to blend off-road ability with interior comfort. That being said, jump inside the car, and if you're used to the International Patrol, the Armada's list of standard equipment may well disappoint. Where the model best known for its Middle Eastern popularity is packed full of tech from the get-go, it's only on higher trim levels that your brand new Armada will look quite this fancy. Heated seats, premium speakers and electrically adjusted rear seats, as well as the larger 14.3-inch infotainment screen, require you to spend $6,000 on the SL edition. That's on top of the base model's $58,500 starting price. Nevertheless, with 3 rows of seats and tall roof, space is aplenty on board, whilst a large boot is another nice luxury to have. Despite being an off-road centric model, the Armada also places 4-wheel drive behind an optional payment in anything but its Pro 4X trim level, complete with $75,000 price tag. One aspect you needn't worry about for hidden prices, however, is the engine, as the newly developed 3.5-litre V6 pumping out 425 brake horsepower and enough torque to easily clamber up any desert dune is standard across the range. As a result, the Armada is rated to tow over 3.5 tonnes without issue.
But if you're fancying off-road ability for your luxury full-size SUV, the benchmarking class surely has to wear a Jeep badge. This is the Wagoneer, a chrome-bejeweled example of how far the Willys Jeep manufacturer has come over the past century. Sporting the same brand identity we all know and love, with its 7-slot grille, but mixing it with a touch of glamour. That luxurious approach doesn't restrict itself to the exterior though, as where the Nissan Armada is a symbol of the optional extra, Jeep's entrant to the class gets a vast array of standard features that will shock many. Topping that list is a 3-zone climate control, a feature few models on the market today get out of the box. Elsewhere, leather upholstery is all very nice, while a choice of second-row bench or captain's chairs means the Wagoneer will carry up to 8. And much like the Nissan, this full-size SUV lives up to the name with a sizable boot. While interior space may be on par with Japan's contender, Jeep's Wagoneer blows the Armada out of the water with its towing capacity of 10,000 pounds or 4.5 tons. That is thanks to a new 3-litre twin-turbo straight-six providing the rear wheels with 420 bhp via an 8-speed auto. And yes, much like the Nissan, this Jeep hides its all-wheel drive system alongside various off-road focused suspension and electronic aids behind an additional payment. Slightly more lavish on the inside, the Jeep does command a higher price tag than the Nissan Armada, starting from around $65,000. But in our minds, for those in search of a luxurious 7-seater, those additional $7,000 are worth it. If you'd rather sling about in the mud with 7 friends, an entry-level Armada with the optional 4-wheel drive system would be our choice.
Ask to name a more iconic movie car than the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, and you'll probably struggle. But that same film features a second famous motor, one that most will recognise from its number plate alone. No, don't worry, you're not going insane. The 1964 Bond thriller did not see the villain driving around aboard a 2025 Rolls-Royce Phantom. In fact, some 60 years after the picture's release, the British luxury car maker has put together a tribute to the classic with a paint job and special number plate. Based upon the longer extended version of Rolls-Royce's Phantom, this unique celebration gets a fabulous combination of colours, matching the movie car's yellow and black two-tone design. The soft hues go well with the subtle wheels, though 21 inches on a modern car still feels too big to us. As is customary with the manufacturer known for its opulence, plenty of gold-plated details adorn the cabin, such as the Goldfinger kick plates, air vents, and a map of the Furka Pass, a famous Swiss mountain road featuring in the film. Look closer around the interior and you may even spot the odd quote. But with all this fancy gaudery, we do feel as though the new Goldfinger villain car goes a bit too far. In fact, going a little less over the top, the original 1937 Phantom 3 Sedan DeVille that starred in Goldfinger remains one of the most imposing of all villain cars in cinema.
After the break, is it yay or nay to a vintage muscle car converted to electric power?
Welcome back. Coming up, Stellantis shows off what it can do when given a 1960s Plymouth to play with.
Last year we took a look at Volvo sub-brand's Polestar's 4, an all-electric coupe SUV that, whilst presenting nicely with a forward-thinking persona, we felt did too much to set itself apart on the market, especially with this blanked-out rear window, making for a claustrophobic rear passenger experience. But if you're looking for all the benefits of a new-age Polestar without the drawbacks of rear seats resembling a medieval prison, you're in luck. This is the Polestar 3, a similar electric SUV, but this time sans coupe roofline and with a bright rear window. As a result, sitting behind the driver's seat is a far more enjoyable experience, offering both decent legroom and comfortable seats made from sustainable vegan leather. Indeed, the whole car is all about proving the point that motor vehicles don't have to be carbon production factories comparable to jetliners, with Polestar using the 3 as a symbol of its commitment to carbon neutrality by the year 2030. Outside, this supposed eco-friendly SUV is just as classy as it is on the inside, with sleek lines and a compact overall shape. And despite having very few details across its bodywork, the 3 retains fantastic brand identity. One look and you know this is a Polestar. That being said, we're still not too sure on the SUV's bulbous rear end, almost appearing to squash under its own weight, spreading into the model's hips. And weighty it is too, with a 111 kilowatt-hour battery under the floor, powering all 3 of the model's variants. For the range anxious, a single motor setup offers up to 430 miles on a charge, whilst the dual motor edition sits at 392 or 347 miles if you go for the performance pack. The latter will pump out a commendable 510 brake horsepower, though we honestly see little reason to need more than the base car's 295 for daily driving. And whilst a fantastic daily driver on paper, a starting price of over £70,000 does place the 3 in a price bracket above even the far more advanced Audi Q6 e-tron.
Thanks to its 800-volt architecture, the latest all-electric SUV from the 4 Rings can charge from 10 to 80% in just 20 minutes, 10 fewer than the Polestar. Moreover, with range hovering just below the 400-mile mark, it may not get the impressive stats of Sweden's entrant, but this German staple surely gets just as much usability in the real world. Big, bold and bulky. Visually, the newest Q6 is worlds apart from its Polestar rival's sleek design, and is perhaps not quite as groundbreaking either. But, getting the same lean personality most Audi models have had for the past few years, it too is immediately identifiable as such. The same is true for the Q6's interior, which, with large design pieces and a sporty design, does not present itself as much of a comfortable long-distance cruiser, a trend shared with many a modern Audi. In fact, you could almost make a better comparison between this car and the aforementioned Polestar 4's bunker-like rear end. We might suggest selecting brighter upholstery materials than this dark decoration. Further in keeping with other recent 4-ring models, the Q6's front row of seats receives an assault of screens, all running the manufacturer's MMI system. Hitting the market from £60,000, the Audi Q6 e-tron undercuts its Swedish rival by around £10,000, and so on paper, it surely is the model to go for.
Gone by, the antisocial pop and bang of a hot hatchback trumping away like a flatulent puppy would have frustrated us on the open road. But in this new year, it is time to realise that alternative fuel sources producing far less boom are taking over, and so we don't have much longer with the soft burble of a brand new four-pot, and somehow that saddens us. That being said, there are still a few manufacturers releasing models for the common car enthusiast, sporting rear-end cannons designed for optimal smiles per mile. This is the all-new Volkswagen Golf R, and in its facelifted Mark 8.5 generation, we believe this to be the last non-electrified hot hatch from the German car maker. Singing that deep, throaty song with DSG transmission undertones is a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine sending 328 brake horsepower to all 4 wheels. Paddles beside the wheel and a hefty chunk of power to play with on British B roads, all whilst protected by the safety net of Volkswagen's all-wheel drive system, and you have yourself the perfect Sunday toy. But at the flick of a switch, that 155 mph car becomes the ultimate daily driver we all know the modern Golf can be. Visually, the newest R gets a few subtle changes that sharpen the look, like this complex wheel design and a slightly larger rear wing, but it remains a model we all recognise fondly. Available in either standard hatchback form or with an estate-sized boot for even greater practicality, the Golf R hits the market from just under £45,000, with the estate body style costing a further £1,300.
Showcasing the best in automotive modification and personalisation, the SEMA show takes place each November in Las Vegas and has become a mecca for car enthusiasts around the world, as well as a select few manufacturers looking to play with the cool kids. Among those is the Stellantis Group, namely with its collection of old-school American marques. And this year, the company launched a set of radical creations, each sporting a host of fancy aftermarket upgrades soon to become available to the general public. One particular project launched last November will get many calling blasphemy, as this is the electrified Plymouth GTX Electromod. Known for its high-power aftermarket crate engines available for Dodge Chargers, Mopar is now launching its e-crate propulsion system, a battery electric conversion kit the company can drop into pretty much any classic car. At the cost of losing the visceral thud of a large-capacity V8 engine producing underwhelming power figures, the new all-electric modification solution allows for improved performance, reliability and usability. Electromodding is not a new idea, however, as the art of replacing outdated engines in classic cars with a battery and electric motor is something many companies specialise in. But this modernised Plymouth is among the first to come from a mainstream car maker, showing that the space is growing fast. Under the body lies a trio of batteries, each weighing a little over 100 kilos. Along with a single electric motor on the rear axle, that means this Plymouth now gets 335 brake horsepower and will do around 250 miles on a charge, which doesn't actually sound all too different from the original model's range. Inside, this recreation is in keeping with the overall theme, blending old and new, thanks to its set of ornate dials repurposed for EV-centric use, like battery charge, temperatures and speed. But it's the fabulous choice of materials we appreciate most inside. Overall, electrified classics are something we struggle to get behind. But for cruising about town in silence and circumnavigating emissions restrictions, we do still admire the tech.
Alongside the modernised stunner, SEMA also saw the introduction of a pair of harsh off-road Ram trucks. And with a name like the Power Wagon, this Ram 2500 concept is about as harsh and rugged as they come. Under the almost warrior-like decals, this modified truck sports a 6.4-litre V8 burbling away as it sends masses of power to these stonking 35-inch tyres. Though surprisingly enough for its name, the Power Wagon doesn't get an official power figure. Let's just imagine it's a number with lots of zeros, shall we? Alongside the Special Forces shade of sand, the 2500 gets a large bed with a set of storage boxes, ensuring your missions into the desert are not without supplies. and a more usable scale is a supposedly motorised version of the Ram 1500 RHO launched last year. The mid-sized truck's most sporty edition has been beefed up with 37-inch tyres, a roll bar with LED lights, and this eye-catching set of Mopar stickers. The rear end clearly gets inspiration from dune-busting Baja races, with its sizable spare wheel rendering the bed pretty much useless, whilst the inside appears to be plucked straight out of a 10-year-old's imagination with blue accents on the seats. Overall, these SEMA creations are designed as over-the-top versions of what is theoretically possible, and whilst we may not agree with them in full, others are sure to admire the effort gone into them, and that is the beauty of automotive modification.
Sadly, that's all we have time for this week, but do tune in next time when Morgan blends old-time charm with modern performance. We'll see you then.